each time your finger points, these were the people who have troubled me. All my troubles come from this, from that, from that. It's a finger point. Each time you finger point, 3 fingers point to you. And you go on ignoring it. When you practice truth, you look at the 3 fingers first. If certain quality is really enriching, instead of asking others to have it, why don't you have it? Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita in chapter 6. Chapter 6 is devoted to practice of meditation, known as Adhyatma Yoga. In 26th verse, Yato yato nischarati manah chanchalam astiram tatastato niyamyaitat atmanyeva vasham nayet. If the mind becomes restless or distracted for whatever reason, then let the aspirant, the yogi, restrain it and bring it back under the control of the purified intellect. The actual statement is, Atma ke vash mein karo. Bring it back and let it come under the control of the self. Just for simple understanding. We are talking from a very advanced point of view. Self, God, Brahman, that's the only reality. Fortunately or unfortunately. Fortunately, if your mind understands. When you go to sleep, everything of the world moves away from you. And that state is not viewed in a pathetic way. It's one of the most delightful things to have a profound let go of the world. If you keep upon reflecting upon it, then gaining insight into the highest goal, where you are letting go the world forever, becomes most thrilling. Now, coming back. To everyone, there's 2 aspects of reality. The external world and internal world. Inner world, your thoughts, your feelings, your imaginations, your dreams, your vasanas. And the inner world is very vast. The external world, the world of your practical reality. Your relatives, your friends, people you live with, circumstances, political conditions, natural turmoils, threefold troubles, subjective, objective, act of God. Of course, subjective trouble comes under internal world. And the great truth is, Brahman is the reality, internally and externally. In between the internal and external, there stands a wall of delusion, Brahma, a form of ignorance. If you break that ignorance, then open your eyes and you are thrilled with the world. Close your eyes and you are thrilled with the self. It's the nose that is making the difference. I'm making a joke. And that's the goal of all religions. The religions are actually only one and the same. The spiritual truth is not diverse according to the different minds and different faiths. They may be described differently. But the spiritual truth, the spiritual goal, the destiny of the soul is one and the same. So keeping that in view. In order to remove that Brahma, what stands in between the external and the internal, refracting or distorting both. The delusion distorts your external perceptions. It distorts your internal perceptions. And that delusion, call it by various names. We call it avidya, ignorance. You may call it devil or whatever. But it is a force of darkness. And a force of darkness can be exceedingly forceful. But if you begin to gain insight into it, bring even a slightest light within your heart to look for the darkness. The moment there is a slightest glimmer, the darkness begins to run. And nothing is more frustrating to find that you have been haunted by something that never existed. In order to reach that state, you need Dhriti. Dhriti is a firmness within yourself, based on faith. Faith is always there in every individual. But in order to awaken that faith, and I will just deviate from this and to give you 10 characteristics of Dharma. If you are truly a religious person, these days the term religious person creates a sense of agitation in human mind. But truly a religious person possesses 10 great qualities. First is called Dhriti. Dhriti kshama damasteyam shaucham indriya nigraha dhir vidya satyam akrodho dashakam dharma lakshanam. Dhriti, firmness, which I'm going to give more info about it. Kshama, mind that does not hold on to grudge. Any type of grudge is something abnormal, unhealthy. It's a headache. It must not be held. And therefore, even when you have been provoked and put into difficult circumstances, end up with forgiving, with love. Dhamma, next point. Your mind and senses, you consider your personality like a chariot. Your senses must obey your mind. And mind must bow down to the buddhi, intellect. And intellect should not be choked by ego. Ego has two fingers, raga, dvesha, attachment and hatred. Me and mine. So ego sits like a crab, grabs your ego, grabs your intellect. Led by that intellect, one becomes exceedingly foolish. The world of dullwits. All miseries arise out of dullwit nature. The intellect has been choked by raga, dvesha, attachment, hatred. Dhamma means not to have that predicament. In a very early stage, Dhamma means do not be dominated by objects of the world. Do not be controlled by your senses. Do not look to the senses for what they want. Look at yourself. Senses are your equipments, your instruments. But having uncontrolled senses, that implies many things. You have the ability to speak. Speaking is a karmendriya, organ of action. When we talk of senses, we are referring to the indriyas. Senses of perception, organs of action. All these must follow a control, your own control over them. You shouldn't become dominated by them. And that quality has to develop more and more. To the extent you have developed it, you are internally enriched. You will enjoy your life in a profound way. But to the extent you have not controlled the senses and the lower self, the world is a terrible, it gives you all types of miseries. The fourth quality is asteyam. Steya term means stealing. Stealing is a very broad term. It simply means manipulating your movements in such a way that things that could have helped others, you grab them. Even when you don't need them. Led by greed. And of course, very gross level, stealing. Acts of greed that bring about that type of inner tendency to deprive people of their comfort for the sake of one's own joy. Behind that is that negative quality called steya. Asteyam, non-stealing. It's a negation of greed. Next quality is called shaucham, purity. Think of the malas, gross impurities, anger, greed, hate, etc. And mind remains always muddled. When you put a glass of muddy water, giving you the project, clean it, make this water clear. And if you go on shaking the water, you cannot make it clear. The mind is full of mud. But if you go on highlighting the mud, I'm giving you a very subtle way to understand and very profound. If you go on writing in your diary, how many times I became angry yesterday? And how many times I was angry 3 days or 1 week previous? And constantly working upon counting and what happened by it. Thereby you are shaking the container. But your mind where to? Turn towards peace. Surrender to God. A godly movement that allows the mind to just stay relaxed. The moment water relaxes, the mud settles down. Now you have to choice to take the clear water out, throw the mud away. That again is just a simile. You don't even have to throw the mud away. The moment mind is calm, there is no mud in it. It disappears. Indriya Nigraha, the next point. Dhamma, I have already explained, controlling the senses, but it's more extended. Controlling, Dhamma is general control of mind, intellect, senses. Indriya Nigraha is a special control over the senses. The next quality, Dhi. Dhi means type of intellect, the understanding within you. There's a prayer. Sabko sanamati de Bhagwan. And this in Gayatri mantra, Dhiyo yona prachodayat. Dhiyo, let our intellects be illumined. So having purity of intellect and a purity of understanding, that's called Dhi. The next quality, Vidya. Vidya that opposes avidya. Avidya brings all the troubles. Vidya is knowledge. Next quality is Satyam. Satyam is truth. Truth again is a progressive realization. When you are asked to practice truth, it doesn't enter the mind with clarity. But the very beginning stage, it is sincerity. Try to enjoy being sincere. But as sincerity advances, you begin to deal with people on the basis of your sincerity. And what happens? Each time your finger points, these were the people who have troubled me. All my troubles come from this, from that, from that. It's a finger point. Each time you finger point, 3 finger point to you. And you go on ignoring it. When you practice truth, you look at the 3 fingers first. If certain quality is really enriching, instead of asking others to have it, why don't you have it? Encourage people to practice truth. And that can resolve countless problems of the world. Remember Gandhi's Satyagraha, insisting upon practice of truth. Next characteristic of Dharma is akrodha. Do not be angry, because anger just spoils your reasoning. When monkeys become upset, they begin to beat themselves. Anger is the same thing. Without not without having the ability to understand the situation. Instead of thinking of how to resolve it, you become angry. You're beating your own nerves, making your own eyes get red. Akrodha, therefore, becomes a profound quality. These are the 10 great characteristics of Dharma. But in order to pursue, all this begins with one word, Dhriti, the first quality. Dhriti is holding on firmly. How firmly? That again is a progressive matter. In the beginning, you may not hold on to your sadhana. You can hold on for 3-4 days, then finish. Then come back again, hold on to more. Gaining the quality of Dhriti is a progressive matter. If you go on practicing it, your mind goes on understanding and enjoying what it means to be enriched by the quality of internal patience and firmness of resolve. Dhriti is of 3 types: Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. In Sattvic Dhriti, you do not allow your mind to be so shaken up. Mind will be shaken up. But you have a constant ability to be flexible. A sense that even this will pass away. That God, who has supported you and done amazing, miraculous things for you, will enable you to cross over. Of all things, God within you is the most profound and absolute support. With that type of understanding and with the help of saintly associations, prayers, you go on developing that firmness that allows you to cross over turmoil after turmoil. And each time you cross over a turmoil, you are much richer, spiritually speaking, than before. You become much stronger. This is the purpose behind adversities. Otherwise, spiritual aspirants get baffled. God is so compassionate, so motherly. How could he see a baby constantly put into trouble? I am the baby. But in God's plan, you are to grow in a spiritual manner. And your growth is most profound. It is not limited to your body, mind, intellect. Your growth is growth of the spirit. Therefore, amazing troubles come to people, even people who are very advanced and moving in a very profound way, and still they are struck with trouble. Example, Christ. All great personalities have their time when they have great challenges to face. But Sattvic Dhriti, that inner firmness cannot be shaken. You may appear to be shaken a lot, but there is Dhriti within you like a root. And that is not shaken. And that quality has to go on developing. Because no matter what, the soul has the only destiny to reach its goal. That's called Sattvic Dhriti. Rajasic Dhriti, Rajasic and Tamasic type of Dhriti, you need to avoid. Rajasic Dhriti means you firmness to acquire or go after artha and kama. Artha is material resources, wealth, objects of the world that you want to possess. Kama, going after pleasures of the senses, fulfilling your shallow desires. There are four great purposes in life, and there are four types of self-effort to attain them. That you need to remember. Dharma is the basis, ethical value. If your life is moving, ignoring the ethical value, then the firmness that you sustain in your personality, that firmness is rajasic. You want to acquire so many things, but without an ethical value. Tamasic firmness by which you hold on to your negative dreams. It's an allegorical word. Everyone has a kind of a dream. You want to expect something to happen in future. But tamasic people, they have developed a concept that someone has been my enemy. Whether it is right or wrong, they don't care. 99% they're wrong. But they have developed the idea someone is my enemy. And they hold on their dream to see the person in misery. And that becomes like years of itch. That's called tamasic firmness. That's the characteristic of the most degraded personalities of the world, criminals and all those types of people. Develop Sattvic firmness. And if you have Sattvic firmness, then you go after Dharma, ethical value. On the basis of ethical value, you gain material resources. You gain your world of society and family. But all this leads you to attain liberation. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And that's the ideal place before you. But if you ignore dharma, naturally you have ignored moksha. All that you want is artha and kama. Have lots of resources, lot of prosperity, lots of enjoyment. And the world goes on giving you boundless situations, but not easily. So much beatings you have to receive. And you move not from one life to another. So having given you some idea about Dhriti, let me move on to this present verse. If the mind becomes restless or distracted for whatever reason, let him restrain it. If you have Sattvic Dhriti, Sattvic type of firmness, you will restrain your mind. You see the mind distracted. And you will be able to restrain it by using spiritual methods and bring it back under the control of purified intellect or the higher self. Certain points. What gives importance to the objects of the world? Somehow human mind feels the objects, they are the most practical and tangible source of joy. But happiness coming out of objects is transient. And objects imply everything other than yourself. All human relations, near and dear ones, all come under the range object. If your attitude is only in a superficial way. But if your attitude changes, that's what it should be, then your people around you, your sons, your children, and whatever, you develop a different type of vision. And that's an ideal. You love God in people. You discover God within yourself. God is in, God is out. Allow your mind to remove the Brahma, the illusion. And that's the purpose of yoga, practice of meditation, and practice of integral yoga. The ultimate goal is that. Now, coming back again, what gives so much importance to the objects of the world? Why the five senses have such power over your mind? And yet the five senses do not supply real happiness. In order to correct that error, your mind should turn to the understanding all objects of the world are sustained by divine presence. Satchidananda is behind all objects. The world of objects called prapancha. Satchit Ananda plus names and forms. When you are driven to objects, your mind is not seeing the basis, Satchidananda. Your mind is going after names and forms, concepts, attitudes, created by your vasanas, subtle desires. If you were to understand that objects do not give you happiness, all objects are illusory, like snake on the rope. All objects are, using the Vedantic method, way of explaining it, mritiketeva satyam, vacharambhanam, all multiplicity of the world is palabras. Like all different pots made up of clay. They look different, they have different stories, but they are nothing but clay. In the same way, all your experiences are nothing but reflections in consciousness. And when reflections come and go, nothing really happens. This type of understanding allows you to deal with objects without creating raga dvesha. Raga is attachment, dvesha is hatred. When objects are viewed by you as a reality, that's the predicament of the masses. And as long as you are not highly advanced, that's the predicament of everyone. Any pleasant situation brings in your mind a desire to hold on to it. That subtle desire gets into your unconscious or subconscious in the form of raga, attachment. Experiencing the objects of the world, you go on creating impressions of raga and dvesha, love and hate. Those impressions stifle you in such a way that you never discover immense joy that exists within your heart. You do discover at the time of sleep, when everything moves away, you are very happy. And you could discover that if you were to enter into samadhi. And that's your goal. But dealing with the world, holding the world as real, what happens? You become a slave to the senses. And your mind becomes cluttered with impressions of raga dvesha, attachment and hatred, likes and dislikes. In order to remove this, certain points to be remembered. First point, satsanga. Go on feeding your mind with good association, knowledge gained by satsanga. Next point, adhyayan, swadhyaya, repetition of mantra and a study of scriptures. Find inspiration in the Gita, in the Upanishad, in the Bible, or whatever. Any source that is elevating. Do not let a day pass without looking into inspiring writings of sages, saints, and develop the hobby or habit of collecting very profound statements. They are done in Sanskrit, they are verses, songs, and keep them buzzing in your mind. Siya Ram mai sab jag jani, karo pranam sabai. All this world is nothing but Sita and Ram. And therefore, I adore everyone. Sab karo pranam, jori jug pani. With folded hands, I adore everybody. And the many statements that are very inspiring. And in the most practical level, be profoundly engaged in good karma, doing your duties, but exude goodness of your heart. And do not miss performing acts of goodness whenever any opportunity arises. Another important point. Do not deal with the mind in a rough manner. Do not rough up your mind. Having noticed error within yourself, do not become too engrossed by it, too depressed by it. Do not feel too miserable about it. And do not be angry. Consider your mind like a child with amazing potentiality. Gracefully lead your mind in a persuasive environment to the heights of amazing glory. In other words, very simple point. Instead of going on looking for when did I become angry, who made me angry, what are the causes of my anger, instead of going all that, turn your mind, I am made in the image of God. I am all love. That anger is not in my nature, doesn't belong to me. But again and again, the anger comes upon your shoulders like a ghost. Go on ignoring it. And it simply will become sublimated. Just deviating a little, remember the 3 points, 3S. Suppress, substitute, sublimate. When anger is coming, close the door. Don't recognize it. Don't ask for its identity. Create affirmation in your mind. You are all made in the image of God. You are not going to stoop. And then you will notice that your mind swims away from the turmoil of anger, hate, and enjoys serenity, peace. And peace is so joyous to the mind that any situation that tries to ruffle you up, and you cannot be ruffled. Who has still the clamor of rajas in his nature, who is sinless, free from all malas, and who has identified himself with Brahman. Such a yogi enjoys supreme bliss. What I have just said, corresponding to that, the verse is Prashantamanasam yeshnam yoginam sukhamuttamam upayati shanta rajasam brahmabhutam akalmasham. And I have explained that. In 20th verse, Yunjannevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmasha sukhena brahma sansparsham atyantam sukhamashnute. Thus a yogi who maintains his mind always in samadhi rises beyond the evil of the world and readily experiences the infinite bliss of contact with Brahman, Brahma Sansparsha. 2 points are given, 2 terms, Brahma Sansparsha. Sparsh term is touching. In practical world, when you hold something and touch it, that's a proof of its reality. But even though you touch things and they are there, it's doubtful that it's real. The realization I am Brahman surpasses all concepts of touch. You touch things and yet things are far away from you. You touch Brahman and you are Brahman. Touching Brahman is just allegorical. You can't touch Brahman. A river cannot shake hands with the ocean. You touch things and yet things are far away from you. You touch Brahman and you are Brahman. Touching Brahman is just allegorical. You can't touch Brahman. A river cannot shake hands with the ocean. You become intuitionally aware of your essential nature. Who am I? That is revealed to you fully. That's called touch of Brahman. Once touched by Brahman, atyanta sukham, joy that you used to experience in life. If you don't experience, you can't live. Even though people who complain a lot, still there are times when they are experiencing some sort of a happiness. And they wouldn't let their life go because of that happiness. But all the happiness of this world is passing. Everything has an end and everything is shaky. But when we're touched by Brahman, atyanta sukham, boundless bliss. And with this I will conclude. Om Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.